ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितां येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुर्श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तु ते। ताप्तकाञ्चन गौरङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधारा श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Gayatri Mataji, for doing the Mangalacharan so wonderfully. I just like to know, who is this C iPhone? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, it's me, Chani Mataji.
Oh, Chandni Mataji. Oh, okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining in.
Thank you.
Okay, Hare Krishna, Panchali Mataji. Thank you very much for joining in today. And I know you are working and you have to rush for this class, and you were just told last night, so I'm sure you didn't have a lot of time to prepare. But whatever you say, with the mercy of Guru and Gauranga, it'll be wonderful. So kindly go ahead, and we are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 3, Chapter 2, and the text for today is text 12. So over to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much again for giving me this opportunities to serve Srimad Bhagavatam and to serve Guru and Gauranga and to serve all of you. If I do make any mistakes, please do forgive me. So I'll read the shloka and the purport, and then we'll do a bit of discussion. So Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Let me see if I can share the screen. Yes, so I'm able to share. So that's 3.2 Srimad Bhagavatam 3.2.12. Yanmartha lila paikam swayoga maya balam darshayata grihitam Vishmapanam swasya cha sobhagarte param padam bhushana bhushanangam. Or reading it in probably the right meter would be Yanmartha lila paikam swayoga maya balam darshayata grihitam Vishmapanam swasya cha sobhagarte param padam bhushana bhusanangam. Translation: The Lord appeared in the mortal world by his internal potency, Yogamaya. He came in his eternal form, which is just suitable for his pastimes. These pastimes were wonderful for everyone, even for those proud of their own opulence, including the Lord himself in his form as the Lord of Vaikuntha. Thus, his Shri Krishna's transcendental body is the ornament of all ornaments. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In conformity with the Vedic hymns, Nitya Nityam Chaitanas Chaitananam, the personality of Godhead is more excellent than all other living beings within all the universes in the material world. He is the chief of all living entities. No one can surpass him or be equal to him in wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, or renunciation. When Lord Krishna was within this universe, he seemed to be a human being because he appeared in a manner just suitable for his pastimes in the mortal world. He did not appear in human society in his Vaikuntha feature with 4 hands because that would not have been suitable for his pastimes. But in spite of his appearing as a human being, no one was or is equal to him in any respect, in any of the 6 different opulences. Everyone is more or less proud of his opulence in this world. But when Lord Krishna was in human society, he excelled all his contemporaries within the universe. When the Lord's pastimes are visible to the human eye, they are called prakat, and when they are not visible, they are called aprakat. In fact, the Lord's pastimes never stop, just as the sun never leaves the sky. The sun is always in its right orbit in the sky, but it is sometimes visible, sometimes invisible to our limited vision. Similarly, the pastimes of the Lord are always current in one universe or another, and when Lord Krishna disappeared from the transcendental abode of Dwarka, it was simply a disappearance from the eyes of the people there. It should not be misunderstood that his transcendental body, which is just suitable for the pastimes in the mortal world, is in any way inferior to his different expansions in the Vaikuntha lokas. His body manifested in the material world is transcendental par excellence in the sense that his pastimes in the mortal world excel his mercy displayed in the Vaikuntha lokas. In the Vaikuntha Loka, the Lord is merciful towards the liberated or Nitya Mukta living entities, but in his pastimes in the mortal world, he is merciful even to the fallen souls who are Nitya Bhatta or conditioned forever. The 6 excellent opulences which he displayed in the mortal world by the agency of his internal potency Yogamaya are rare even in the Vaikuntha Lokas. All his pastimes were manifested not by the material energy, but by his spiritual energy. The excellence of his Rasa Leela at Vrindavan and his householder life with 16,000 wives is wonderful even for Narayana in Vaikuntha, and is certainly so for other living entities within the mortal world. His pastimes are wonderful even for other incarnations of the Lord, such as Sri Rama, Narasimha, and Varaha. His opulence was so super excellent that his pastimes were adored even by the Lord of Vaikuntha, who is not different from Krishna himself. Om Agyana Timrandyasya Gyana Jana Shalakaya Chashmurmalitan Yena Tashme Sri Gurve Namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Matajis and Prabhujis, thank you again for giving me the opportunity to do this service. So we are reading a beautiful verse today where it gets a bit technical, talking about Krishna being in the spiritual world, Krishna being in the material world, and where it is different. And it also gives us a flavor of how Krishna goes to any length to do his leelas, his pastimes, either to save his devotees, annihilate the miscreants, or just to do pastimes for the pleasure of his devotees and making people understand about him. So we have been reading about, in the past few verses, we have been reading about how Uddhava, after displaying ecstatic, or symptoms of ecstasy on being asked about Krishna by Vidura, he now comes back to the mortal plane. And we discussed how a true devotee, an elevated devotee, despite the fact that their material bodies might be in this material world, in their consciousness, they are in the spiritual world. And we, I remember we discussed in our last class the pastime of one of the Rupa Goswami, how how he was enjoying the pastimes between Radha and Krishna in the spiritual world, and how that was mistaken by one of the brahmanas who was passing by because his body was still in this material world. But elevated devotees, they are always there in the spiritual world. Now, before we even start, let's look at who we really are talking about. So Uddhava is thinking about, Krishna, and we are being talked about various qualities of Krishna over here in the last verse as well, and in this verse as well. Now, how do we define Krishna? Who is Krishna? Lord Brahma said, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchitananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So the first definition, the first thing that Lord Brahma says about Krishna is that Ishvara, he's the Parama Ishvara, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchit Ananda Vigraha. So Krishna is Sat Chit Ananda. And I was listening to a Krishna Katha the other day where Prabhuji was mentioning how just as there are adjectives before a name, so if you're talking about, say, a curtain, and we say it's a blue velvet curtain, so the blue is an adjective which defines, which gives more characteristics to the curtain, tells us how the curtain is. The velvet is another adjective which tells us more about the curtain. Similarly, the Lord, when we define him as Sat Chit Ananda, the definition of the Lord Krishna is many times in the Shastras, we've been told Krishna is Atmarama. He is happiness. He is happy within himself. Why? Because he is happiness himself. So that Sat Chit Ananda, Ananda is what Krishna is. And Sat and Chit are the adjectives which comes along. So Krishna is none other than Ananda. He is complete bliss. And who is complete bliss? Radharani, Ladini Shakti. And so we again see how we are also told again that there is no difference between, Krishna and Radharani. Radharani is simply Krishna manifesting himself in the female form just to be able to do the pastimes. And what is Sat and Chit? Sat meaning the eternity, and Chit meaning the knowledge. Sat and Chit, they are the qualities that Krishna has. So Krishna is Ananda, and he also has the qualities of eternity and complete knowledge. So that is Krishna. And so this Krishna, when he is able to expand himself into various expansions in the spiritual world, and when he incarnates in the material world, he is able to do that using his various energies, various opulences, which is all held in him, but his, he has innumerable number of energies. And out of those energies, his internal potency is Yoga Maya. That is his internal potency. Now you will notice that in the Vaikuntha planet, we have innumerable number of Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual world. And the topmost one is Golok Vrindavan, where we would all want to go. Why? Because that is the land of Madhurya Rasa, where Krishna is there eternally with Radharani. Now, you will note we are told that only in Golok Vrindavan, Krishna is there as Sham Sundara, the two-handed Krishna, playing the flute, dancing with the gopis, doing his pastimes with Radharani, being the son of Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. Nobody thinks of him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When Mother Yashoda, somebody would, come and say, oh, do you know what? Your son has killed so many demons. He must be the Supreme Personality. And Mother Yashoda would say, don't you dare say that. You're just going to make him proud. When Krishna would just, say to the Gopas, his friends, that, look, I have killed so many demons. And his friends would say, don't be silly. Don't say such things. Don't be so proud. You are able to do that only because your father is a great Vaishnava. Your father is a great, great devotee of Vishnu. And so when Vishnu saw that we are all being attacked by demons, Vishnu was so kind that he gave you some power to be able to kill the demons. So you go and say to anyone in Vrindavan that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they would just either laugh or they would just tell you off, because they would say, don't make our little Krishna proud. He's proud anyway. He's naughty anyway. Don't make him more proud or naughty. And how is this possible? Because Krishna allowed all of this to be possible through his internal energy, Yogamaya. So Krishna gives instructions to his internal energy, Yogamaya, to completely, cover this bit of knowledge. So we see Sat Chit Ananda in Krishna, the knowledge and the Ananda part of it, the bliss part of it, they combine together, and that is what is covered by Yogamaya. Yogamaya covers the knowledge that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why? Just to be able to give complete bliss to the true devotees. And Krishna allows that only in Golok Vrindavan. And so he couldn't even say the Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge, in Vrindavan. When he incarnates, when he comes down, he has to say serious stuff. If he's in Vrindavan, he can never ever do that. So he has to come out of Vrindavan to be able to give the knowledge of the absolute truth. So of all the, innumerable number of Vaikuntha planets, we see in only and only in Golok Vrindavan, the topmost Vaikuntha planet, where Krishna is a two-handed Shamsundara. In all the other Vaikuntha planets, Krishna is in his form as Narayana, the four-handed form, with Shankha, Chakra, Gada, and Padma in the four hands. And so we see, because that is the form that is protected, that is the serious form, that's the form that is worshipped in awe and reverence. So we see when Krishna is protecting Parikshit Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj sees him in that four-handed form. When we see Arjuna getting really scared, seeing the Vishwarupa of Krishna, and he prays to Krishna, please come back to your original form. Krishna does not immediately come back to the two-handed form. Krishna comes back. Arjuna meditates on the four-handed form of Krishna. And then Krishna comes back to because the two-handed form is where there is that Sakya Rasa between them. And Arjuna had just seen the huge form. He had seen what Krishna really is. So there was that, Arjuna started praying the four-handed form of Krishna. So we see in this verse, we are being told that Krishna, we mustn't really think of Krishna to be any person, any ordinary person, just because he comes to us as a human being. And then we are being explained quite a few things. But we are told all of this when we do see Krishna as his two-handed form, doing the pastimes, it is all possible because Krishna instructs his internal potency, Yoga Maya, to hide quite a few things. Yoga Maya even hides the knowledge from Krishna sometimes, just so that Krishna himself can relish the true rasa of that pastime. So Krishna allows baby Gopal to be genuinely frightened of Mother Yashoda when he steals the butter and Mother Yashoda is chasing him in the Damodar Leela. Krishna allows Yoga Maya to make Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cry out in separation. Krishna allows that because he was in the mood of Radharani. So we see Krishna under the Yoga Maya under the instructions of Krishna allows that covering to happen only to increase the sweetness of the pastimes, as we are being told in this verse as well. But over here, the verse also gets a bit technical because it says that the Lord appears in his mortal, in this mortal world through the internal potency Yoga Maya, but despite the fact that he's here in this mortal world in the form of a human being, he appears in his eternal form, which is suitable for his pastimes. So what is this eternal form? Now in Bhagavad Gita, or rather in Srimad Bhagavatam, firstly, in Canto 4, we are told that or rather, in Canto 4, we are also referred to the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says that he comes to this world by his own internal potency to protect the devotees, to annihilate the non-devotees. But the devotees must always remember that Krishna does not appear as an ordinary human being or an ordinary, any animal or insect. So if he appears as Varahadeva, or a tortoise, he's Kurma avatar or Varaha avatar, that does not mean he becomes, or Matsya avatar. He is not to be equated like any ordinary fish, any ordinary tortoise, or any ordinary boar. We have to remember that. And the purport mentions that in conformity with the Vedic hymns, so in Katha Upanishad, it mentions Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitanam, which is mentioned in our purport today. So in conformity with, with this, the personality of Godhead, Krishna, he is way more excellent than all the other living beings in this material world. Now, what exactly does this phrase mean? It means that, again, what we are told over and over in the Bhagavad Gita, that, and Krishna says this to Arjuna, that Arjuna, there is a difference between me and everybody else. So whereas all of you, Arjuna, you, including everybody else in the battlefield, you all existed in the past, you exist in the present, and as many of you will continue to exist in the future as well. And so have I. I have existed in the past, I am here now, and I will be there in the future as well. So both the Lord and the Jiva Tattvas, or the individual souls, both are eternal. They are eternal, but the difference is that the Lord is unlimited, whereas the living entities are limited. The Lord is the creator, but the living entities cannot exist without being created by the Lord. This is what we have to remember. So there is no difference between the Lord soul and, qualitatively, our souls are as Sat Chit Ananda, as the Lord soul. But just like we are the drop in the ocean and the Lord is the ocean, qualitatively, the quality of the water might be the same, but quantitatively, there's even no scope for comparison. It is just so, the Lord is so vast. Now, Prabhupada, when he was explaining this phrase to his disciples, he said that the Nitya in this phrase means singular. And the Nityanam, which is mentioned in this phrase, actually means plural. So both of them are same. Both of them are personalities, persons, people, living entities. But whereas one is the singular supreme, and the other, Nityanam, they are the plural, and they are the generic, the jivas. So Krishna is everything, and he is supplying food. He's like, Prabhupada mentions Krishna is like the king, and the jivas are like the subjects. The Krishna is the supplier, he supplies, and the jivas, we are conditioned or we are limited, and we are only able to get what Krishna gives to us. We are now in this material world, and so we are in a prison. We are even more limited in what we get. We don't even have the freedom to do a lot of things. We can't, even if we think of our own city or our own local area, we know we have to drive on one side of the road. We know there are, strict laws about certain things. We can't even change simple things. We don't have the freedom to do that. Leave apart freedom to do anything and everything as Krishna has. So when we are being told about, what Krishna coming into this world as a human being, as devotees, we have to keep in mind that despite the fact that Krishna might be in this world, look like a human being, there is a huge difference between who he is and who we are. I mean, we can't travel, we can't visit from one planet to another like Krishna does. Yes, if we are elevated devotees, yes, our consciousness can be in the spiritual world. We can even, one can become a Narad Muni. He was able to, freely travel from one planet to another, not just in his consciousness, but also in his physical body. He was able to travel from one planet to another. But for that, one has to really understand who Krishna is. We have to understand that Krishna is the chief of all living entities, and no one can surpass him in, whether in all the six opulences: wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, or renunciation. And these are only six opulences. Krishna has innumerable number of opulences. Okay, so this is the first thing we are being, asked to remember in this verse when we think about how Yogamaya covers us, or what Yogamaya does, what Krishna does in his pastimes, but also remembering the fact that Krishna is not limited like us. No one is equal to him, and he is excellent. So, and it reminds us, even during Kaliyadaman, the pastime of Kaliyadaman, where Krishna was fighting with the huge serpent Kaliya in Yamuna, and everybody, Mother Yashoda was there, and all the gopas and the gopis were there, all crying, and the Vrajavasis were there crying and howling. Krishna was dancing on the heads of Kaliya. The only person who kept quiet and he was just smiling to himself was Balaram, because he knew Krishna, he knew who Krishna was. And so we have to become like that. We have to understand who Krishna is and be quiet, smile like Lord Balaram, and accept the fact that, although Krishna is with here, doing his pastimes, he's doing that for his pleasure and also the pleasure of the associates with whom he does the pastimes. Now, the next point that Krishna, again, the Prabhupada again gets a bit technical, again, elaborating on this point further. It says that, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says to Arjuna that although I am unborn, my transcendental body never deteriorates. So Krishna remains the same. Krishna speaks about the peculiarity of his birth, and we have mentioned about that in our purport as well, how Krishna's birth is very Krishna, his human form is very, very different to all of us, all the other jivas. Krishna not only remembers his many past births, we can't even remember what we ate in the morning for breakfast, leave apart the past lives. But Krishna is able to do that. But it says over here that Krishna appears, when Krishna actually comes to this material world, he appears in his own body. That is what we are being told again. So he does not change his body. His body remains Sat Chit Ananda. It doesn't become a body of flesh and bones and muscles and blood. So Krishna's body remains the same. So in the material world, the living entities, they really have no fixed bodies, do we? Because our souls transmigrate from one body to another based on our karma. But for Krishna, he doesn't have to do that. He appears in the same body. Even if he appears in a different form, even that form is Satchit Ananda. As we said just a while ago, whether it's in the tortoise form, Kurma avatar, it is still going to be Satchit Ananda. Whereas ours, when we take birth after birth, we take the different bodies, sometimes as trees, sometimes as, animals, insects, or human demigods, or, lower animals, the nagas in the lower planets, planetary systems. And that is the reason we go through the 6 stages of life, from birth and childhood to adulthood to old age, and then decay and death. Whereas Krishna doesn't have to go through that. He comes in, he appears as a baby form, but we are told when he took birth or rather he appeared in the prison of Kamsa, he appeared, he didn't, his formation was not as you would usually have a man and a woman uniting and then, giving birth to a baby. But whether it's him appearing in Dwapar Yuga, whether it was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appearing in Kali Yuga, we are given description, we are described, or we are told that Krishna first appears in the mind of the Father. So he appeared in the mind of Vasudeva and in the mind of Jagannath Mishra, who was the father of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then from the mind of the fathers, he went to the mind of the mothers. And then from the mind of the mothers, he went to the womb of the mothers and then appeared in the world. So his birth is, he appears as a child form, because otherwise there would be questions and he wouldn't be able to do his pastimes properly. But he takes he comes in his 4-handed form, even as a child, to Vasudeva and Devaki, and with their request, on their request, he changes to a 2-handed form. But then, as he grew up, we see that Krishna never ever ages beyond a youth. And why? Because in the spiritual world, that is his eternal age. Youth, 15, 16, that is his eternal form. So Krishna, even when he appears in this material world, he grows from a child, but then he stays in his youth form. And so even in, during the battle of Kurukshetra. How old do you think Krishna was during the battle of Kurukshetra?
Krishna
Any
was
idea?
Around 100,
He was about
125.
125 was the number of years he performed his pastimes in Dwapar Yuga, but he was around 90 years old. But he looked about 25, 24, 25. So his form never changes. It doesn't grow. It doesn't deteriorate as usual human body. And so we have to understand that his appearance and disappearance are completely different from that of an ordinary common living entity. Why? Because he's not at all contaminated by material nature. He is not under the material modes of nature. He's above that. And so the material nature, the material energies are not able to affect him in any way, physically or internally, because he is above that. So the Lord, the conclusion, we come to the understanding from this part of the purport is that the Lord is conscious of all his previous appearances and disappearances because he is eternal. And also he is the absolute truth, and the fact is that there is no differentiation between his form, his material form, and his own self. So his material form, whereas for us, our soul is Satchidananda, but our material form is made up of matter, the 5 gross elements, and then the karmendriyas and the gyanendriyas and our mind, the subtle body, the gross body. But that's not the case with Krishna. So we are reminded once again that Krishna's body and his form, his external form, internal form, the quality, quantity, everything is absolute, everything is the same. So we see, but why does Krishna do that? And we can, as we are being told in the verse and also in the purport, that Krishna comes here over and over again to do his pastime. Why does he do that? To give pleasure to us, to annihilate the miscreants and to protect his devotees. And Dharma samstapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge, to establish Dharma all the time. So we understand that, where there are true devotees, Krishna doesn't Krishna does give them darshan of his true self. Where it is required, Krishna reminds us who he is. And we are reminded of a pastime of a Brahmana who came to the house of Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata one day. And Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata said, we are going to cook bhoga, offer it to the Lord, and please have prasad with us. And the Brahmana said, I'm really sorry, please forgive me, but I have my own Gopal with me. And unless and until I cook for my Gopal and offer it to him, I am not able to have any other prasad. So I have to have the prasad that I personally cook for Gopal and offer it. So if I can please request you to give me some rice and some raw vegetables, I'll just cook it. So Jagannath Mishra and Mother Sachi gave that. Now Nimai, baby Nimai of Mahaprabhu, he was a toddler at that time. He was barely, crawling and, barely able to take a few steps here and there. So this Brahmana, he cooked the bhoga for Gopal, and he offered it to he brought out his Gopal, he offered it to Gopal, and he started meditating. Gopal, Gopal, please come and have the bhoga. And then Nimai came out of nowhere. He just crawled and he started eating that food. And then the brahmana just shouted, "Oh, what are you doing? This is for my Gopal." And then Mother Sachi and Jagannath Mishra, they came rushing and they saw Nimai and they picked up Nimai and they shook Nimai and they got very angry with Nimai. "Why are you doing this?" And they were so angry with Nimai because, it's like they thought, "Oh my God, what is going to happen now? We have offended a brahmana who had come to our house." So the brahmana said, "Okay, don't worry, don't scold the child. Just give me some more rice and vegetables if you have." So they gave that to the brahmana again. So by this time it was already afternoon. So the brahmana cooked again, didn't eat the whole day. The brahmana cooked again, offered it to his Gopal and meditated, "Gopal, Gopal, please come." This time, what they did, Mother Sachi and Jagannath Mishra, they took Nimai and they took him to another room and they made sure that he was there and didn't allow Nimai to come anywhere near the brahmana. And then when the brahmana started meditating, "Please come, Nimai, please come," Nimai just came out of nowhere into that room again and started eating that prasad. And the brahmana started, crying again. Mother Sachi and Jagannath Mishra came and they started crying. They didn't know how to apologize to the brahmana. And then by this time, it was even past afternoon, it was evening, and they were crying so loudly, neighbors came and everybody got angry with baby Nimai. What are you doing every single time? And then so the brahmana said, "Okay, I'm going to cook one more time." So the Jagannath Mishra and Mother Sachi said, "Please," and even the neighbors, this time even the neighbors, they brought some vegetables and rice for him and said, "Cook at midnight. Nimai will be asleep at that time. Please cook and please offer it. Otherwise, we will never be forgiven for offending a brahmana." So it was night time, Nimai fell asleep, it was all quiet, midnight, the brahmana cooked, offered it to Gopala and said, "Gopal, Gopal, please come and eat." And out of nowhere, he saw that baby Nimai coming and started eating the food. And that's when the brahmana realized, he said, "Who are you?" And then that is when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed his true form to the brahmana. And he said, "What kind of brahmana are you? You're calling me all the time. You're asking me to come and have the prasad, the bhoga. And when I'm coming and taking the delicious food, you're shooing me away." And so obviously the brahmana was, really humbled and, tears started coming out and said, "Please forgive me. I didn't recognize you." And so that is our condition. We do not recognize the Lord. We take the Lord to be any other ordinary human being. And that is what we are being reminded over here again, that please don't do that, because the Lord may come as an ordinary human being, but he really is not an ordinary human being. He's just very, very merciful. He's very merciful because, he's even, and we are being told in this purport that he's even more merciful to the people over here in the material world. We are Nitya Bhattas over here, as opposed to the Nitya Muktas. So Nitya is daily, every day. In the Vaikuntha planet, they are all the jivas, they are Nitya Mukta, or they are liberated souls. They are already already serving Krishna in loving devotion. They are already engaged in the 5 rasas with him, Shantya, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya rasa with him all the time. And the Lord is eternally doing pastimes with them all the time and merciful towards them. But when the Lord is here, he is even more merciful, we are being told in the purport, because he comes here to shower his mercy on the Nitya Baddha, or the conditioned souls who have forgotten him, forgotten their own abode, own home, and they've gone haywire. They've actually, they are in pain, being under the material challenges. So the Lord comes and comes over and over again. And when he comes, he's even, not just, he doesn't, the 6 opulences that we just talked about a while ago, he displays that in the mortal world through Yogamaya. And, even in Vaikuntha Loka, sometimes even that is not possible. So, I mean, just think of the other 7 secondary rasas. So we know there are 12 rasas in all. There are the 5 primary rasas, as we said, Shanta, Dasya, Vatsalya, Sakya, and Madhurya. But there are the 7 secondary rasa, the Raudra rasa, anger, Adbhuta rasa, wonder, or Hasya rasa, comedy, Veera rasa, chivalry, Daya, which is mercy, and then you have Bhayankar rasa, horror, Vipatsa rasa, shock, and all these rasas. He's not able to taste all these rasa properly in the spiritual world, because everybody in the spiritual world loves Krishna. They have no other task other than loving Krishna over there. I mean, leave apart the other Vaikuntha planets, even if you go to Vraja, and they have no other work than their work, getting up in the morning, up and then sleeping, and even sleeping at night, even dreaming of Krishna. That's that's all they do. In the other Vaikuntha planets, yes, he's revered with awe and reverence, but he is still, it's still that rasa of love. They have nothing. So Krishna finds it very difficult to fight with them, to have a vipatsara, horror rasa with them. And so he relishes all of those rasas when he's here in this material world. And he's able to do that using his opulences, especially the 6 opulences which he has in complete. And so we are being told in the purport that, he's even more merciful over here, because we get to see Krishna in more of his variety over here in this material world, which even the people in the Vaikuntha Loka can't see, because sometimes Krishna is limited over there. And so we are being reminded that, in the Vaikuntha Loka, where would we see that, Krishna having 16,000 wives? Even Narayana was bewildered by that. When Narayana went to one of the palaces in Dwarka, he saw Krishna over there playing with his child, and then he goes to another palace. He sees Krishna, same Krishna over there, talking to his wife. In another palace he goes and he sees Krishna over there, and he's with his, in the assembly talking to his ministers. And so we see the huge opulence of Krishna. He expands himself in 16,108 times. And we are told that, when Krishna marries those 16,000 wives, and he delivers those 16,000 princesses, and then they come along with the existing 108 palaces, he builds the other 16,000 palaces. 16,000 times he has to marry. And so he ensures that in every single marriage, they are the same people. So the associates of Krishna, they also expand so that they could relish the marriage of Krishna with the different princesses in the different way, in the different rasa at the same time. And this is not possible all the time. This is what Krishna does. And he gives pleasure to his devotees, his associates over here. He teaches people that he is the supreme. Nobody else can do that. And he also teaches that, he's the one who is able to do that. Why? Because he's giving shelter to all of them. Not because, he's he just wants to marry 16,108 wives. But no, this is because he's giving shelter to all of them. And he is our supreme shelter, as we have learned in Canto 2, Ashra Tattva. Krishna is the supreme tattva, Krishna is Ashray Tattva. We all come from him. We cannot go, nothing exists beyond him. And that is what we are reminded here again, that Krishna is so merciful that he comes here over and over again just to be able to relish, to do his pastimes. And we see, even we are reminded over here of another pastime, or the pastime of the Man Sarovar in Vrindavan. Does anyone know how the Man Sarovar came into existence in Vrindavan? If you've been to Vrindavan? No? So I'll quickly say, because there's only about 6 minutes left. So this is when, talking about the 16,108 wives and how Krishna marries so many of them. So one day, Radharani was on her way to go and meet Krishna. And then from afar, she saw Krishna had already started dancing with the various gopis. And again, this is a big pastime, so I'm just making it short. So she saw that, and immediately she got angry. Angry, well, it was man or abhiman, angry, anger mixed with being upset, mixed with, why not me? A bit of pride and ego, why not me? And she saw that, and she started crying. She just sat down over there. She started crying, and she was crying and crying, and she wept so much that a whole lake appeared over there from those tears of anger. And this anger, we are told over here, this anger is not anger as a normal anger. In Sanskrit, this anger is called as mana, or, it's related to love, it's related to the heart, and it's mixed with a bit of pride, bit of coquettishness. And some of it is also, we are told over here, I'm reading the book, we are told, some of it was also out a bit of crocodile tears, because she wanted Krishna to see that how much he has hurt her. Now, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we are told that Krishna can be with every single gopi, but if Radharani is absent, Krishna's dancing is not complete. Krishna's pastime is not complete. So Krishna started looking around for Radharani. And when he saw Radharani wasn't there, he just called out his name. And then he started inquiring from the other gopis, where is she? Go and find her, otherwise I won't be able to keep on dancing. So Lalita and Vishakha, they went, and they went a bit far, and then they saw Radharani sitting on the ground crying in oodles and oodles. And then when they came and told Radharani, look, your Sham Sundara, he stopped, he doesn't want to dance with us, come along, otherwise he's going to stop dancing. And Radharani said, go and tell that boy, he is, his heart is as dark as coal. He started telling all wrong things about Krishna's character. He's absolutely characterless. He just goes, he doesn't love me, all of that. And then, as she was saying, she felt a tickle in her feet. And then, as she looked down, she saw Krishna holding her feet. And Krishna was holding her feet and then putting that on his cheeks. And because of that, all the cheeks of Krishna, because the women, they wear alta, which is a red kind of thing on the borders of their feet. And so Krishna's face was red. And then obviously, Radharani, her love for Krishna overtook her man. But this is it, we see that Krishna is able to do pastime. He is able to, people talk so much about the Rasa Leela in so many wrong ways. And that is the reason the great devotees, they do not want to talk about the pastime of Rasa Leela much, because it is the topmost, the absolute topmost pastime of Krishna and Radharani and the gopis, and there's a huge hidden meaning behind it, which encapsulates the entire Krishna Tattva. So if we just think of Krishna just doing pastimes with so many gopis, and if we think of Krishna to be just a normal self, just any other human being, no one, we are told over here, reminded over here again, no one but us would be absolute fools, because, and Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 7, verse 25, Krishna says to Arjuna that, I am never manifest to the foolish and the unintelligent. And what do? I am covered by my eternal creative potency, Yogamaya. And so the deluded world knows me not. And so people who are foolish and who are unintelligent, Krishna tells Arjuna, I never reveal myself to them. So to them, I am just any ordinary being. And so we are told over here again that, let's not do that. In conclusion, let's not do that. We are reminded of Yogamaya. We are reminded how Krishna covers us with Yogamaya, and even himself sometimes. We are reminded that Krishna loves doing his pastimes, and he's even more merciful to us than he is sometimes to the Nitya Muktas in the Vaikuntha Loka. And we mustn't really think of him to be an ordinary human being, because he's not so. He is unborn and he is unfallible. That is what Krishna says. So if there is a courtroom, if Krishna shows his universal form, a Bhishma Dev or a Vidura will be able to recognize him, but Duryodhana and the rest of the Kauravas, even Dhritarashtra, wouldn't be able to recognize him. So we have to learn from the devotees like Vidura, like Uddhava, and recognize the supremacy of Krishna and how merciful he is, and how we must follow him and pray to him to deliver us from this material world. So with that, I conclude our discussion today. If there are any mistakes, please do correct me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for this excellent class, and this is without preparation. So it was excellent. We didn't feel that you had not prepared at all. Mataji, just one clarification. So, Krishna's internal potency is Yogamaya, and we are also covered by Maya. So is that the Mahamaya? So we came from wherever, and we wanted to enjoy. We envied Krishna, and we wanted to enjoy on our own. So the soul we have is exactly like Krishna, as you alluded. So it is, but it is limited, and it is also created. It can't create, but it is created. It is limited. But then there is a covering so that the soul forgets its eternal nature of being the servitor of Krishna. And that also Krishna has done that on purpose. But is that covering that is not Yogamaya, that is Mahamaya, or which Maya is that? Mataji, you are muted. Mataji.
Sorry, Mataji. So thank you, Mataji. Yes, that is Mahamaya. So first of all, Mataji, our souls are as eternal as Krishna's soul. So we come from Krishna, but our souls are also eternal, just as Krishna's souls are eternal. There is no start and end to our souls. Now, when in the spiritual world, for the pastime, that's the covering of Yogamaya. When we defect from when our souls defect from the spiritual world, that is when they come in touch with matter in the material world. And that is when they immediately come under the control of Mahamaya, which is the material energy. The contamination around our soul is the contamination of Mahamaya, and that is not Yogamaya. Yogamaya is not, so that is the reason when we say the Hare Krishna mantra, it is able to clear that contamination. So the Adi Shakti, so Krishna is the Shaktiman, energetic, and Radharani is the energy. The Shakti. So the Adi Shaktiman and the Adi Shakti is Krishna and Radharani. It all starts from there. But then Krishna, the Shakti, that Shakti has many forms. The internal Shakti, and then the external Shakti is Mahamaya. Mahamaya does not exist in the spiritual world. So Mahamaya is only in this material world. All contamination around our soul is purely Mahamaya, not Yogamaya. When Krishna does his Leelas, pastimes, and that is when sometimes he covers the knowledge that he is the supreme personality of Godhead. He covers that knowledge with the use of Yogamaya, just so that the true form or the pastime can be done in its true form. So that is why, just like he covers the knowledge that he's the Supreme Lord amongst the Vrajavasis, or amongst sometimes when he also does pastimes in this material world. Does that make sense, Mataji? Yeah.
Yes, it makes perfect sense. So when the soul is covered with the with Mahamaya, then it gives rise to the ego and the false ego and intelligence.
All of that, yes, everything that is gross, because the gross body and the subtle body, mind, intelligence, and false ego, even that is matter, even that comes under material. That's not spiritual. Only the soul is spiritual.
Thank you so much. I thought if you had time, because you said you were not prepared, I had that question in my mind that I would ask you to again go through all the Vishnus and Pradhan and everything, because that you really explained that so
Sorry,
beautifully.
No, I'll definitely
so
do
beautiful, and I want to hear it again and again and again. But anyway, so I'm really grateful for today's session. And are there any other questions or comments from the group? I know we have exhausted our time, so
Hey
maybe.
Krishna Mataji, wonderful class. Just one question, Mataji, that they say that we know that they used to live for 1,000 years in Dwapara Yuga, and now it is only 100 years. But Krishna was on earth only for 120 some 25
25.
years. Yes, Mataji. How come he didn't stay for longer? Because they used to live up to 1,000 years at that time. And even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also left very early.
Yes,
So just have this question.
thank you, Mataji, for the question. And lovely question for both yours and Kritika Mataji's. So those number of years, that's the average number of years allocated to the souls, or rather the material bodies in that age. Now, Krishna, because he comes every time he incarnates for a purpose. So he doesn't really have to live the entire time. As soon as he fulfills the purpose, he goes back to the spiritual world, because Krishna's avatars are continuous. So there are innumerable number of material universes as well. So Krishna's avatars, it said it's like the waves in the ocean. So at any one point, one may go back and the other's happening already. So Krishna might have finished his pastime over here in Dwapara Yuga, in this earthly planet, but he probably went somewhere else, somewhere else. But he had no other requirement. All that was supposed to be done at that time, establishing, protecting. So Paritranaya Sadhunam. So he saved the Pandavas and the other jivas, the citizens of the state. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. So he annihilated the Kauravas, he annihilated all the bad people the demoniac, the people with demoniac characteristics. And what did he do? Dharma Sansthapanarthaya, established Dharma. So he established Dharma by, putting Yudhishthira as, making him the king, and also, after Yudhishthira, and also in the, he took back the Yadavas, because who were the Yadavas? All the people who were born in the Yadu dynasty, the dynasty of Krishna, they were all either eternal associates of Krishna in the spiritual world or the demigods, and Krishna had asked them to take birth in preparation before he appeared. And there was also the understanding that they wouldn't have to stay in this material world for long, that they would go back quickly because they had other work, they had work to do in their original forms. So as long as it was required for them to be in this material world, they were there. And we are told in the Shastras, both in the case of Lord Rama and also in the case of Lord Krishna, Lord Brahma came and mentioned to them, to Lord Rama and also to Lord Krishna, that, my Lord, you have finished your pastimes over here. It is time for you to go back now. And that's when, Krishna went back and, he ensured that the Yadavas killed each other. Yes, it came through different pastimes and reasons as to why the Yadavas killed each other, etc. But there was also the inner reason of Krishna ensuring that they had all gone back to their original positions in the spiritual world or in the higher planets. And then he wounded his own pastime and he left. So he was here only for 125 years. Mahaprabhu came here for two main reasons. So he wanted to, obviously there were the three internal reasons as to why he came. Wanting to taste the love of Radharani, wanting to see how deep the love of Radharani is, and also wanting to check what is it in him that Radharani loved so much. He wanted to taste that. But the external reasons were also these, establishing dharma, and also showing the people of Kali Yuga who had completely, mixed all the varnas, the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, the different ashramas, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. Everything was going in the, by the effect or with the effect of Kali. Everything was just going a bit downhill. So Mahaprabhu also wanted to establish that. And so he did that in the first 24 years as a Grihastha. He showed them how to live as an ideal Grihastha and then as an ideal sannyas, how to do that. And then once he did his pastimes, once he was able to establish that, what he had in his mind, then he went back. So that's the reason. But whereas these two incarnations stays a few lesser years than was allocated for the whole the whole Jiva life in that particular yuga, we see Lord Rama in Satya Yuga, people lived for 100,000 years. In Treta Yuga, they lived, the average age was about 10,000 years. But we see Lord Rama, do we know how many years he actually ruled? Lord Rama, if I'm not wrong, I think he ruled for about 11,000 years. So it was over the average age. So it depends on how long the Lord requires to establish or do the things he had in his mind when he incarnated for that period, for those people, for the people of the time. Don't know if that answers your question, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, so nicely explained. So beautiful. That's what I always wondered. How come Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also left so early? So, and also Lord Krishna. So this answers everything. Like they finished their purpose. So obviously they
Finish the
they left.
purpose, yeah.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And isn't it true that Lord Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the original form of Supreme Personality of Godhead, had come for us. I mean, in other places, he might send his expansions or
Yes.
something, but we are so fortunate
Absolutely,
to
Mataji.
be in this Kali that we had the original guide coming to us.
Yeah, absolutely, Mataji. So when Lord Krishna comes in his original form in Dwapar Yuga, in that Kali Yuga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears. In all the other kalpas, etc., you know, there are incarnations. So we really are so fortunate. Yeah. Yes, you're right.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Dennis, Bhakta Dennis Mugo, are you able to end the session for today? Hare Krishna.
Yes. Thank you so much, Professor Kar Mataji, for the opportunity to accept my humble obeisances. And thank you so much, Your Grace Panchali Kar Mataji. That was such a wow. So I felt like today it was more the pastimes of Krishna, like sorry about that. I'm somewhere outside that. It was Krishna Katha. Thank you so much. It's just so inspiring and motivating our bhakti to listen the pastimes of Krishna, the Supreme Personality in his avatar. Thank you so much, Panchali Kar Mataji. And for the lovely questions, Matajis. Thank you. So, like, I would kindly request the assembled devotees to kindly unmute. We chant one Mahamantra in glorification of today's Sangha. Thank you.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Vanshakapatarukyascha kripa sindhu bhayeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Our Grace Panchali Kar Mataji ki jai.
Jai,
Granth Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Matajis and Prabhujis. Hare Krishna. Thank you.